what kind of case opportunity is there for PI? Because a lot of the PI attorneys listening, that's a huge portion of our audience. They're like, I'm sticking to TV. There's just no cases on social. So, how would you push back on that?
If they think that, you are missing out. You need to have the biggest FOMO for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. You're missing out if that's what you think. So this will just be an example. So Samantha, my sister-in-law, hates doing videos. She doesn't like doing it. I literally make her do it at gunpoint pretty much. And I have like my formula of, I like this hook. I like the information this way. Say who you are, have your call to action. Really short for TikTok. She doesn't like doing it. So I make her do like literally the bare minimum. And I'm really proud. So if you go look at her profile, all organic growth and views. And so like, she doesn't have 1 million followers, but she has videos that have hit 50,000 views for an illegal repo of a car. There are a lot of people that like that topic, and it's crazy when someone's getting repossessed with like their kids in the car. People like crazy stories, but it would be if I knew PI, that would be so easy to shift over to that way, which a lot of lawyers are trying to do, just because you can make so much off of injury cases if you get good ones. And it's the same idea. Again, who's your target audience if you want to shift that way? So like using hers as an example, very inconsistent posting because she doesn't like it. And then I post them and edit them, but we have the formula of how to do it. That's all organic growth and views. And she gets emails from people saying, my car was repossessed. What do I do now? And so if you want to look at like bare minimum time example of what you can do, her account is a great example of it. Is like, she doesn't religiously post once a day. She doesn't do all the stuff I do. So as a comparison, I'm kind of burdened with my account sometimes where I'm like, oh, I have to post today or I'm going to make the algorithm mad. Hers is a great example of, even if you are stretched so thin, there's no excuse not to make videos when you could do it like that and still get those results.
Yeah, that's one thing I was wondering on the cadence and the consistency and how that impacted, particularly on TikTok. And because, every channel's different, and, LinkedIn is where I have a very small presence, so I don't have anything near in your social, but I've noticed like if I miss the cadence, then it hurts the momentum. A few other things like you kind of alluded to this like structure and format with like the hook and then the call to action. What are we talking to get, investment? Is it a good camera? Is it do you send it over to an editor? You edit yourself? Like, what are we looking at in terms of like cost to do this and like the barrier entry to do it well?
Having an iPhone. That's pretty much, again, I am not fancy or formal with anything. I mean, like we're talking in the kitchen right now, but that's my style. So there are some lawyers on there who there's like a lawyer, Mike, who has like millions of followers and all this stuff. He does the high end level production. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's very expensive. It looks very nice. That's just not me. And so my investment is good window lighting, my iPhone, and maybe a tripod when I'm doing my coffee stories. And that's it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't have to be fancy. And again, it goes back to that relatability is like, who do you think if you message that your mom lost their job, they don't know what they're going to do, who do you think would respond to that message for, me or Mike? Because like right now you're talking in my kitchen with me, we're all friends. And so like, it's okay if you can't do that formal commercial production. And actually those don't really perform well usually on TikTok and Instagram because people like those DIY I made it videos. They want to keep going with the scroll. And so you had talked about storytelling. We have our group of TikTok creators where we're like, what do you think the algorithm's doing today? Nobody actually knows. We just say what's working and we like scheme about that kind of thing. But I do try to post every day, at least one video. I've noticed if I don't, the next time the algorithm doesn't really pick it up so it boosts your video to your immediate like close followers that always comment and interact with your post. If they like it and interact with it, it boosts it to your other followers that maybe don't interact. And then you start getting into your non-followers. So if I miss a day, I try to post 3 a day. If I miss a day, the next time it doesn't even barely get to my small audience and I have to like really comment and interact and work to get that one to get the outreach. So if you're going to go like hard on it, commit to 1 video a day, 3 if you feel ambitious. And then I do take like the weekends off or one day of the weekend off, or I might pre-record one that I can post that day because like it is exhausting. It's editing and you're sharing and you're talking. You have to think of this idea, but also I'm just like rambling on and on about ideas. That's the other thing.
This is fantastic. I'm learning so much.
Yeah, like I'm like obsessed with TikTok and how it works, and I love it. Like there's statistics where if you notice, all my hooks will be like if you use you within the first 10 seconds, it retains viewers by whatever percent. If you use it twice, it retains it by 30. So some of my hooks you'll hear, this is a super easy way to get started for people who are maybe intimidated, is to be like, if your boss has told you this, they're wrong. So it doesn't have to be high tech, it doesn't have to be a fancy idea. I like to work smarter, not harder. So I use ideas for like what'll happen. If someone will send me an email and they're like, my boss told me I have to sign this severance or else, or something that I'm like, wow, that's really messed up. That's a brief topic that I can touch on during my coffee conversation to where I'm doing my storytelling. And sometimes we don't even have this like great result. Like, and we sued him. I just be like, be careful and don't feel stressed if you're forced to sign a settlement, something like that. So you don't even have to say something, you don't have to full circle on the substance. You could just touch on topics and be like, one time when I was at court, someone got sanctioned for chewing gum. Just little tidbits work for me. You don't have to come up with this like full production story and conclusion and things like that. And honestly, those don't perform well. People like the short form clips that you can maybe do in series like that. But I think that's where people get hung up a lot, is they try to pack way too much information in this 30 or 60-second clip. Sometimes less is more.
That's a fantastic piece of advice, and there's so much there to unpack, and we're going to have a transcription of that because that is like a mini masterclass of how to do it. The other thing that I've always wondered is there's this decision that a lot of individuals make, and a lot of times they make it like a binary decision. They're like, do I do a Instagram and social for my company, my firm, or do I do it for me personally and build my personal brand? And, I'm addicted to TikTok, first of all. So I'm on TikTok all the time. I just get sucked in, right? Because I think the algorithm's so smart because it hits my interests, right? So if I engage in sports, I'm going to see sports. If I engage in business, I'm going to see Hermosi or whoever.